Support for this podcast comes from Goodman. Since 1982, Goodman Manufacturing is focused on the goal of producing energy-efficient, high-quality HVAC equipment that is easy to sell, install, and maintain. Goodman's continuous efforts have contributed to the success of HVAC dealers like you across towns and big cities throughout the country. Goodman produces a complete line of refreshingly affordable ducted split systems and packaged units. The company's current product line is supported by numerous technology enhancements, many exclusive to the Goodman brand. It's no wonder millions of homeowners say, "Thank goodness for Goodman." To learn more, go to goodmanmfg.com.
Welcome to The Successful Contractor, powered by Success Group International, a show for residential contractors about residential contractors. We chronicle business journeys, share insights, and celebrate successes in this wonderful industry. I'm your host, Bob Houchin. Hello there, SGI family and other contractor friends. I'm so thankful you're here. As a reminder, all episodes of The Successful Contractor Show are available on YouTube as well as your podcast player of choice. Also, if you're a non-member interested in learning more about SGI and how we can help your business grow both on the top and bottom line while becoming part of the contracting industry's largest network of contractors, we're having Profit Day seminars in my hometown, St. Louis, Missouri, Lansing, Michigan, Atlanta, Georgia, Little Rock, Arkansas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Salt Lake City, Utah. Give us a call at 866-299-8505 to attend. SGI members in those markets, if you'd like to come and share with everyone your experiences with the group, give your coach a call. We'd greatly appreciate your help. Today's show is the first in a series of interviews I'll be bringing you intermittently over the next several months. These interviews will be featuring SGI Crown Champions. Crown Champions are salespeople and technicians who've achieved a tremendous amount of success in a fiscal year. To be a Crown Champion in HVAC and roofing, you must have sold more than $1.5 million. In electrical and plumbing, you must have sold and installed more than $500,000. The first Crown Champion I'm bringing you is Peter Trierweiler, a fellow KangaRoof in Round Rock, Texas, which is just outside of Austin. Peter sold just shy of $3.5 million in 2021, and he did that while also selling repairs, so it's just not all re-roofs. Over the next 60 minutes or so, you'll learn Peter's background, how he found himself at KangaRoof, and he'll discuss his entire sales process. I think you'll see Peter's not your typical salesperson. He comes from the restaurant industry where we all know it takes a great deal of patience and work ethic to survive. It's that same patience and work ethic that's allowed him to flourish in residential roofing sales. Peter's philosophy is sell like you want to be sold to. For Peter, that means putting no pressure on homeowners, but instead creating a strong relationship with them and then strengthening it by giving homeowners comprehensive information in a way that they can understand it. It's been a winning formula for Peter. So, without further ado, here's Peter Trierweiler, a fellow KangaRoof in Round Rock, Texas. I hope you enjoy it and take away a nugget or two. Peter, thank you so much for being on the show today. For those who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, could you please share with the audience your name, your company name, and where you guys are located?
Hey, Bob. Yeah, my name is Peter Trierweiler. I work with KangaRoof of Austin, obviously in Austin, Texas. So
very good, very good. And we're talking today for a very, very good reason. You last year were a Crown Champion, and really you blew that out of the water. You had a fantastic sales year. Share with everyone what you ended up closing out last year at in terms of sales.
I think the final number end of the year was $3,456,000. So just shy of just shy of 3.5.
Not bad at all. Do you remember what your average ticket was off the top of your head? I know it's a few months back now since the year closed.
I know the largest one that I did was 50,000, and I remember that because that was the largest sale I've ever had.
A residential job.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We only do residential, and we pretty much only do shingles. So I've never sold a commercial job in my life, unfortunately, not yet at least. But I'd say the average ticket was probably 25,000.
Wow, that's great. That's amazing. Do you know what your closing percentage is roughly most of the time?
Currently, I think it averages about 55, 60.
Good.
Obviously I have bad months and I have great months,
Sure.
but
Sure.
average is probably around 55 or 60. So.
That's cool. Very good. Now, in terms of the leads you go on, are you only going on sales opportunities? You don't do any repair. You don't go on any potential repair, right? It's when you go out, it's a sale for a re-roofing.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever I go out to a call, it's because they have an issue of some sort with their roofing system,
Mhm.
whether it be we got hit with a big hailstorm or they've got a leak
Okay.
going on.
Okay.
I would say it's probably 50, maybe 40% of my calls are repair calls, and then
Oh, okay.
maybe 60% are replacement,
Okay.
give or take.
Will you sell repairs or do you only sell replacements? Because
No,
everyone
no.
structures it differently.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I sell repairs all the time.
Okay.
I try to keep my repair closing rate closer to 80%.
Sure.
And then because obviously, it's a smaller ticket item, and people most of the time when they need a repair is because they have a leak. And
Right.
so there's a lot less, oh, let me get some bids. Oh, I don't know, because their ceiling is caving in, so they need to get it done.
Right.
So yeah, I try to keep the repair closing rate a little bit higher.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say maybe, 40% of my calls are repairs. So
Okay. Very good. What now? What's the average tick on a repair call? Obviously, it's not $25,000, but
yeah, it's probably around $1,500.
okay. All right. That's good. That's above the average for sure. Good stuff. All
Yeah,
right. Great. Well, before we dig into what you do on a day-to-day basis, I always love finding out people's backgrounds, how they got to where they are. So,
sure.
how did you get into contracting? Did you start doing it like you're a young guy? Did you start doing it after high school or college, or did you know
Mm,
someone? How'd you get
No,
into it?
I actually, when I graduated high school, I was in food service
Okay.
for a really long time. You know, I got I guess it was my second job when I was 16, and I stayed
Ah,
there until I was about 26.
okay.
And started working two jobs when I was around 23,
Mhm.
and I wound up being a kitchen manager for a local restaurant for the better part of 5 years.
Okay.
And it got to a point to where, I was working 60 hours a week pretty consistently.
Sure.
I would either have to be there at 4 a.m. or I would be leaving at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And so I really wasn't getting enough time at home with
Mhm.
my wife and kids,
Sure.
and it got to a point where I was just absolutely miserable, and I just dreaded going to work. And so
Sure.
I realized it was probably time for a change, and
Yeah.
so I just started perusing Craigslist, looking for anything different that I could
Yeah.
make, either the same amount, if not more money.
Sure.
And yeah, one day I was on Craigslist and I saw an ad that said home inspector, $100,000 a year. And I was
Yeah.
like, that sounds great. I can do that.
Sure.
And went to the interview and come to find out it wasn't what it sounded like. It was actually a roofing sales position.
Okay.
And I, uh, I almost didn't take the job just because it really scared me going from a salaried position to commission only.
Sure.
And the thought of a $0 paycheck really terrified me.
Yeah.
But I also knew that, since day one, I've had a pretty great work ethic, and
Mhm.
knew that if I saw a $0 paycheck coming, I wasn't gonna be sitting around at home. I was gonna be doing anything I could to make it a not $0 paycheck.
Sure.
And so I decided to take the leap. I figured anything in life worth having is not risk free. And so
Yeah.
I, like I said, took a leap of faith, and it was the best decision I ever made.
That's
Ever
great.
since I started this industry, my life has changed incredibly, and all for the better. So,
That's phenomenal. Now, how did you
yeah.
end up at Feller at KangaRoof? When because you haven't been there that long, right? Share with us.
Yeah. I've been at KangaRoof since 2020, summer of 2020, and the reason I went there is pretty much since I started in this industry. Uh, I realized pretty quick that KangaRoof is kind of like the company to work for.
Mhm.
They're, one of the most reputable companies in the area. They've been around a long time, had a great reputation.
Mhm.
And, over the course of the years, I made friends with a couple of people that worked there. and all the rumors of, them being awesome, and Scott and Stacy, the owners, being great people and treating their employees wonderfully, all of that was true. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, summer of 2020, the sales manager reached out to me and asked if I wanted to come in for an interview.
Yeah.
And I was totally happy at the company I was at. I had zero
Sure.
complaints. I was my own boss, making my own hours, making good money. But, I would have been kicking myself if I didn't at least give it a shot. And,
Sure.
yeah, coming over to KangaRoof was, again, one of the best decisions I've made.
What was the interview process like? What kind of grinder did they put you through? Was it several interviews, or they got a good feel for you right away and you were on?
It was pretty much, I went in, I did a quick phone interview, just to go over some basics, and then they invited me in for an in-person. And I sat down with Stacy, the owner, and Toby, the sales manager, and it didn't really feel like an interview. I mean, it was
Yeah.
kind of us just all talking, and we all got a good vibe from each other, and they made me an offer. And I like to simmer on things, and
Sure.
not
Big
make a
change.
decision right away. Yeah, but I kind of already knew that I wanted to go over, so I think I
Yeah.
was playing hard to get with them. But it
Well,
worked
they
out. It
closed
worked
you
out.
eventually.
Yeah, yeah. But it worked out really well. So
That's wonderful. Now you had come obviously from the industry. So what did training look like for you to learn how KangaRoof does business? How long did it take for you to before they started letting you run leads? Was it fast, or did they have you right along with someone for a
uh,
little bit?
it was pretty quick. I think I had 1 week where I was officially employed, that I wasn't running calls.
Yeah.
And during that week, I read through a lot of their literature, and,
Yeah.
kind of tried to get a feel for the way they do things. I went on a couple of ride-alongs with a couple of guys,
Sure.
asked 1,000 questions to all the sales guys that were there already.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the following Monday, so I guess it was 1 week of training. I didn't really need training as far as,
Sure.
insurance claims or roofing or anything like that. It was more so
Right.
just on the way that they do
Do
things.
business. Sure. Sure. Yeah. I bet everyone gave you the green light. Like Stacy, he's ready to go. He knows what he's doing. He's asking all the
Yeah,
right questions. So
I would hope so. Yeah,
yeah.
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 Well, either
Well, that's
way, they got me out there in about a week, and I think I made my first sale second day. So
yeah.
kind of, I was like, I guess I got to prove myself, to
Sure.
them, because I hadn't yet. And
Yeah.
so I figured selling a roof on the second day was a pretty good way to do it.
I
So
think that's pretty good. I'm sure they didn't complain. That's for sure. So
they were all right with it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about how you approach a call from beginning to end. So when you're driving to a customer's home, do you do any kind of research on the homeowner? And also, do you do anything to kind of clear your mind? Listen to motivational stuff, music. How do you approach an appointment?
Well, most of the time I'll give the homeowner a call, usually about 15 minutes before I arrive, just to let them know, like, hey, this is Peter from KangaRoof. I've got you for an appointment at 10:30 today. I was just calling to
Yep.
let you know that I'm headed your way.
Hmm.
Typically ask them if there's anywhere in particular they'd like me to park the truck or anything like that.
Sure.
Just kind of get my foot in the door per se.
Yeah.
And whenever I have an appointment set, it's on my calendar, and there's usually notes on there from when the appointment coordinator set the appointment.
Great.
And we'll always read through those just to, make sure, I'm not knocking on the door when it said don't knock or something like that.
Sure.
And, but yeah, other than that, I don't Facebook stalk people
I know
before I
people
go.
that do that, but yeah.
I know some people do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, honestly, once I get there, regardless of what I know about them, I'm gonna act the same either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a very big proponent of sell how you want to be sold to.
Yeah.
And if I have some guy come to my house who is just, sleazy sales guy, just giving me a bunch of, malarkey, a bunch of spiels or whatever, I'm not gonna like that. If they're just, reeking of salesmen.
Yeah.
And so whenever my whole goal is to go out there and treat people how I want to be treated,
Yeah.
just be down to earth, talk to them on a personable level,
Yeah.
and help them. At the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to sell them something. I'm trying to help them fix
I
their
love it.
issue. And so I'll go out there, assess the issue, and lay out options for them.
Yeah.
and let them choose the option that works best for them.
That's cool. Very cool. All right. So let's continue. So you get to the home, you knock on the door, homeowner welcomes you in. There's always a little awkwardness. I mean, unless the water's streaming into the house, that they know this is a potential salesperson coming in to get me to spend money, right? So people have their guard up naturally. How do you go about building an initial rapport? Do you offer a sincere compliment, or do you just like to make small talk to find common ground? What do you like to do at that step of the call?
Well, first off, I mean, honestly, for the first 10 minutes that I'm there, I really don't talk about the roof much at all.
Right.
I don't, if, and I feel it out, there are people who, they're just no bull crap kind of people who just, nope, you're here, I want to know what it is.
Yeah.
But then there's also lots of people who, you just start prying a little bit and get them to talk. And once you start getting them talking, that's, when they kind of let their guard down a little
Sure.
bit. And I find that the easiest way to do that is by talking about things other than the reason why I'm there.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so, I'll just talk with them, learn a little bit about them. I really try to make every customer laugh.
Okay.
I figure if I can joke around with them and get them laughing, which 90% of the time it works, and then 10% of the time there's somebody who's just stone-faced, and I'm like, all right, this isn't working. I'll try something.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, 90%,
But,
that's a pretty good hit rate.
yeah. But either way, it's really more so. I want them to feel comfortable with me in their home.
Sure.
I don't want them to feel, like you said, like, oh, this guy's going to try to sell me something.
Yeah.
Like, I really want them to feel like, oh, wow, this guy is here to help me. And I'm at the end of the day, I'm there to provide a service, and it's not free, obviously, but
Sure.
most of the time I have options for them,
Yeah.
so they can decide which one works best for them.
That's great. Now, during this kind of warm-up process, before we get to any roof talk, roof questions, are you a proponent of like reading body language? You had mentioned there's the no nonsense guys, right? Like at SGI, we talk about a disc profile. That's like
Yeah.
a B personality. Someone, all right, let's just go. I got stuff to go. Do you try and do you rely on that much to read body language and try and figure out how to best communicate with someone based on their personality type, or do you just kind of treat everyone the same? You seem pretty laid back. Is that more of your approach?
I mean, yes and no. When it comes to reading body language, I don't look for certain things like, oh, he uncrossed his legs, that means this, or,
Yeah.
anything like that.
Sure.
But, the no nonsense type of people, they're pretty obvious from the get go what kind of person they are.
Right.
And it's not so much body language that I read, it's more so just whatever conversation I've had with them already.
Sure.
There are some people where you're like, hey, I'm Peter, how you doing today? And then they go on for 5 or 10 minutes about the
Right.
last weeks of their life. And then you have the other people who are just like, good, you ready?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, all right, that's that kind of guy. And so, just play it by ear,
Sure.
There's no one size fits all with a sales approach,
Yeah. On those we call them eyes, those outgoing people that just want to talk about the weather for 3 hours. Do you transition at some point? Go, okay, I have to keep this within a 2 hour window, like, or do you just let them go and you'll have tea and whatever? If it's an older person that maybe hasn't seen someone in a while, like, or do you try and keep it on track at some point?
It depends. It depends. If it's a busy day and I'm on a tight schedule already,
Right.
I'll let them go on and I'll, engage with them, but it gets to a point where I'm like, all right, but seriously, and then there's other people, if it's my last appointment of the day and these people just want to talk and sit down and, have a
Yeah.
chat, I'm more than happy to do that with them.
That's right.
Even if I don't end up closing a sale with them,
Yeah.
I would much rather them be able to say, yeah, I had KangaRoof out here and, I didn't buy from them because, they wasn't necessarily, the right fit.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, that guy that they sent out here, he was great, and I'd recommend him to anybody.
That's great.
I have a genuine fear, and I don't know why it stemmed from childhood somehow, but I have a genuine fear of people not liking me.
Yeah.
And So I do everything I can to be as personable and likable as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that has translated pretty well into sales.
Sure. That's great. That's very good. All right. So we do this warm up process. You kind of get a feel for the person. When we start do you start going into questions about the roof and roofing system at that point, or do you want to sit down somewhere to talk about it, or what's your next point after that initial kind of just friendly feel out conversation?
Well, typically, it's the first conversation. I'll, after we chat a little bit, see the reason that they called me out there, what their
Yeah.
specific concern is. Most of the time, I don't go too heavy on the specifics of their roofing system.
Okay.
Unless it's like an engineer or a contractor or somebody who you can tell is actually
Sure.
interested in that stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they don't care.
Yeah.
If I had an AC tech come out because my AC was broken and he started telling me about all the different coils, and I would just, and so,
Right.
most of the time I try to figure out what their issue is
Okay.
before anything, and then just kind of set the expectation of what I'm going to do while I'm there.
Okay.
So once they let me know that, I'll let them know, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and get up in the attic. I want to check things out up there, make sure nothing's disconnected, make sure you don't have anything that's, actively dangerous or hazardous to your home or anything like that. Then I'm going to do a quick perimeter walk of your property and just check everything out. Sometimes when we get a big damaging storm, things other than your roofing system might have been damaged that get missed. And so I just want to do a full property inspection. Once I finish up with that, I'm going to get up on the roof and I'm going to, do a full assessment, check out all the components, make sure that everything's working as it should. And also, try to identify where your issues are coming from.
Okay.
And once I basically let them know that, once I'm done, I'll have an inspection report filled out for them so they can know exactly where their roof sits at that time. And if it's in good shape, I'm happy to let them know, yeah, you guys actually are fine. There's no work I can recommend right now.
Sure.
Which honestly, I like telling people that sometimes, whether I know I'm not going to get paid anything for going out there,
Right.
but it's a good feeling, because I like it when somebody tells me, hey, you don't have to spend a bunch of money. And I'm like,
Yeah.
cool, that's great. So sometimes it feels good to let people know, that they're in good shape and there's no recommended work needed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
Go
once
ahead.
I come back down, I'll just let them know what their options are, as far as repairs, replacements, so on and so forth.
Do you do an inspection even on someone's calling you out for a bid on a brand new roof? They know they want a roof, it's 30 years old. Will you do an inspection so they kind of know what's going on, or maybe how the roof needs to be built a certain way, or is that approach different altogether?
No, regardless of what it is, if they have any sort of issue or want or
Okay.
desire for a roofing need, I'm always getting on the roof.
Okay.
I mean, even when people call me just to get gutters, I'll still go on the roof and make sure that they're doing okay because they
Okay.
called us out there for a reason. I might as well do it while I'm out there.
Sure.
So regardless, even if they are ready to rock and roll, they have a check waiting for me when I show up.
Yeah.
I'm still getting on the roof,
Yeah.
and I also want to take pictures of everything.
That was my next question. Yep.
I try to be in the habit of taking way too many pictures.
Okay.
It's happened a lot in the past, or not a lot, but it's happened, enough times to where somebody will say, "Hey, your roofer's crushed this pot," or
Oh, sure.
this plant was fine and now it's dead or whatever. And then
Yeah.
I show them time-stamped photos of when I was first out there before we did any work, showing
Sure.
them, "Hey, actually, I'm sorry, but your pot was already broken," or whatever.
Right.
Taking way too many photos and being in that habit has saved me a lot of money over the years just by
Sure.
not having to pay out on stuff that wasn't my fault,
Yeah.
just because I don't have a leg to stand on.
Right. Right. Sure.
So taking way too many pictures is better than not enough.
How much of taking picture and actually let me take a step back. When you take those pictures, do you take any video too, or is it all pictures?
All pictures,
All
yeah.
pictures. When you come back down and you have the inspection, you have the pictures. Will you just kind of narrate what you saw with the customer? Will you sit down and go, hey, this is what I saw, there's rot here, or there's
Yeah,
mold
yeah,
here. Like,
absolutely.
how does that process work?
So typically, I'll go through and, most of the time I won't show them every single little thing
Sure.
that's wrong. But the major things, either the cause of their leak or the reason why they're needing a replacement,
Yep.
I'll usually go over those. And, but we also have, KangaRoof also has an app, that customers can download. And if they have that downloaded while you're there,
Hmm.
they're able to see the pictures that I'm taking in real time.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
so they can be sitting in their living room on their couch, and I'm up on the roof taking pictures, and they're able to see them pretty much as soon as I take them.
Oh,
And
that's neat.
so it happens a lot where I come back down and I'm like, yeah, well, I found the issue. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's right here. And
Yeah.
so,
Right.
sometimes it explains itself. But either way, I always, I try to be very thorough on explaining what their issues are and how we can fix them without
Yep.
getting too technical about it.
Of course. Of course. Sure. Okay. So you went in, you went in the attic, you got on the roof, you've taken lots of pictures, you fill out your inspection. Next step is what? To sit down with the customer and go over what you've reviewed. Will you go through the entire inspection as well? Here's the good, the bad, the okay, or do you have
To be,
options readily prepared that you get into that kind of the part of the
yeah.
process, or
So
what do you do?
so before I go in and sit down with them, whether it's a repair or a replacement, I'll always have prices when
Okay,
I go.
right.
If it's a repair, I'll have a repair estimate written up before I go in and go over it with them.
Hmm.
If it's a replacement, I'll have a replacement proposal written up before
Yeah.
I go in and sit down with them.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
so I'll go in, and again, I try to gauge it off of the, person I'm speaking with. Some people just want to do it in the doorway. Some people want to go sit down in their living room and have coffee,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Um, and so I'll go over, my findings and let them know what their main concerns are, kind of in a level of importance. Like, you need to get this done immediately.
Right.
This is something you should keep an eye on. This can probably wait, etc.
Right.
And then after I've gone over everything and have answered their questions, and ensure that they're up to speed and are actually getting what I'm talking about,
Right.
then I'll usually sit down and start going over some of their options and pricing and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Now, will you have? Do you always have, say, three repair type options and then some replacement options, or is it a blend where, okay, this you got to do this because your house is your roof's going to cave in, right? Or we
Yeah,
can option 2 and 3 or 4 is a replacement, or how often, or like what do your options typically look like when you've got a call that it could be a repair or it could be a replacement?
yeah. So if it's a repair and the roof is over, 12 or 13 years old,
Hmm.
I'll always do a repairability test and just
Okay.
take a shingle and bend it back, and
Okay.
not all the way, but check to make sure it's not too brittle to repair.
Yep.
If it is too brittle to repair, then I won't write up a repair estimate because it's not something that I can do properly.
Right.
Um, if a proper repair can't be performed, then I'm not even going to bother wasting their time.
Yep.
But I will have a replacement estimate written up for them.
Okay.
And, and I'll go into, yeah, you could find someone to repair this, but, it's going to be $2,000. Your roof's going to need to be replaced within the next couple of years for sure anyway. And you
Right.
might need another repair in between now and then. So
Right.
you're going to be spending, $4,000 to $6,000 maybe on a roof that's going to need to be replaced within the next couple of years anyway. It might make
Right.
more sense just to do it right now.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'll usually go into some financing options and stuff like
Okay.
that for somebody paying out of pocket for their whole project.
Okay.
But with repairs, if the roof doesn't need to be replaced and they just have a couple issues going on,
Yep.
I'll give them options for that as well. I'll have what you need to have done
Hmm.
written up, and then I'll have what you need to have done, plus some other things that you could get done as kind of a preventative measure to make sure that you don't have issues in the future.
Okay.
Uh, and so sometimes they just want to get the problem fixed and be done with it, and they don't
Yeah.
care if they get another issue in a year. Sometimes they want to do the best thing for their home, and even if it costs a little more, they want to stay on top of it and get everything done right then. So
Sure, sure. When you do that bend test, that's interesting. Do you do that in front of the customer, or do you do that on the roof, just so you know personally? So
The
when you bend the shingle,
Oh yeah, no, I don't do that in front of the customer.
okay. I don't know if that
I
was
don't.
part of the process. Yeah.
No, and most of the time when I'm trying to see if a roof is repairable or not, it's because it's got missing shingles. It's because it's old
Right.
and it's kind of starting to fail. And so if you take one of the shingles that fell off the roof or something, you can test it on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's not like you're going up there and ripping a shingle off and
Right.
seeing how easy it happened.
Sure.
It's more so you take the shingle, bend it back a little bit, and once you get to, maybe 50 or 60-degree angle, if it starts to kind of break and crease and you start losing granules, it's a pretty good indicator that it's not time for repairs, it's time for a replacement. So.
Okay, very good, very good. Let's say that you're in a call where you're like, okay, the customer knows it's a replacement again, that's an old roof, it's a replacement. They maybe have a bid already from somebody else. So this is not an easy sale. You've got to earn this one. When you come to sit back down and you have your inspection and pictures, but you got to talk about how Feller King Roof is different from ABC Roofing or Joe Blow Roofing or whatever it is. Do you have a set presentation that you go through to kind of explain what your value differentiators are, how your guarantees are different, or do you just kind of verbalize all that at that point?
It's both. I absolutely have a sales book, a sales
Okay,
presentation.
I assumed as much. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it comes down to the person I'm dealing with. Some people really want you to read over every word that's in there and
Yeah.
really explain and go hard on every single thing. And then other people kind of just want bullet points.
Right.
The things that I go hard on when I'm trying to sell the value of the company are tenure. Most roofing companies last maybe 3 or 4 years and then they're out of business.
Right.
Whereas, Kanga's been selling roofs in the Austin area since, before 2000.
Yeah.
So, we've been in the area for a lot longer than a lot of other guys. So there is that sense of comfort knowing that if, God forbid, they do have an issue with a repair
Sure.
or replacement we did, they're not going to have trouble getting us back out there. We have a storefront usually right down the road from them.
Right.
Our phones are never just going to stop working. It's not going to be one of those fly-by-night type of deals or chuck in a truck or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll let them know that in the state of Texas, you're not required to have a license to be a roofing contractor.
Mm-hmm.
We have a voluntary license just to be an extra layer of comfort to give to that homeowner to know that we actually really do care about people knowing that, we stand behind our work,
Yeah.
and that we do things the right way and we try to do it right the first time.
Yeah.
And, going along with being, GAF Master Elite certified and all that good stuff. And, like I said, it's going to keep coming back to it depends on the person.
Sure.
But, those are some of the key things that I zero in on when
Mm-hmm.
I'm going up against a bid that is $3,000 less than mine, but
Right.
it's from a company that's been around for 2 years and, doesn't have certifications, doesn't have a license, and who knows where they'll be in another 2 years if they sprout a
Right.
leak. They might not be able to get help. So.
Right. What are your guarantees on re-roofs? Like, are you much different than the competition out there in terms of how long you warranty for it for?
It depends. So we offer a couple of different roofing systems on our proposals.
Okay.
Our pricing is really straightforward, meaning that it's basically a per square pricing. And
Okay.
so it's really based off the square footage of the roof. And so I'll enter in the square footage of the roof with a waste factor, and it's going to give me prices for 7 different roofing systems.
Oh,
And
wow.
so
Okay.
the idea is to give them, again, give them options, from
Sure.
the Kia of roofing systems to the Cadillac all the way to the Bentley of roofing systems.
Right. Right.
And so, giving them the options is helpful. But whenever it comes to warranties, that's another thing that, you can have this guy over here. He's offering you a 10-year workmanship warranty, and I'm offering a 5-year, and I'm more
Mhm.
expensive.
Right.
However, that guy's been around for 2 years,
Yeah.
and we've been around for 30.
Sure.
So, if you have a leak at year 4 and that guy is no longer in business, your warranty isn't worth the paper it's written on.
Right.
Whereas with us, yeah, we have a 5-year warranty versus a 10, but you can be sure that if you do ever have an issue, we're going to be here and we're going to get you taken care of.
That's good.
And also, if the warranty is the big concern with them, and I'll say, well, if that is the most important thing to you, then I would recommend going with this roofing system that has a 15-year craftsmanship warranty. Same
Okay.
thing. You don't have to worry about us being here or not. We're gonna be here,
Yeah.
but you get an extra 10 years on that warranty. Yes, it's an extra $1,000, but you get an extra decade on your workmanship. So.
Right.
Support for this podcast comes from Professional Plumbing Group. How many hours in a day do your plumbers waste because you don't have the right part for the job? This problem leads to additional issues and reduced productivity, poor customer satisfaction, and increases your cost per job. Professional Plumbing Group, or PPG, can help you solve all those issues and more. We have everything you need to help your business grow and become more profitable by allowing you to focus on plumbing, not inventory management. Go to plumbmaster.com for more information.
Welcome back to the show. I'm talking with Peter Trierweiler of Feller KangaRoof in Round Rock, Texas. We've covered a lot so far, and we have so much more to go. In the second half of our interview, Peter will share how he covers options during his sales process, including how he talks about the different features and benefits of each option, how he handles a variety of objections, and why rarely, if ever, he gets cancellations, and so much more. So let's jump back into my conversation with Peter Trierweiler of Feller KangaRoof in Round Rock, Texas. I'm intrigued. So from your Kia to a Bentley, I'm assuming you start from the Bentley and you work your way down. You go to the highest ticket and then you take stuff away as you go to the Bentley in terms of presenting it to the customer. Correct?
Yes. Okay. You start high, and then and most of the time you can kind of see them like, oh, I don't know about that
Right. Yeah.
one.
Squirm.
Usually considerably more expensive. However, once you start talking about things that they're losing by going down, I think it affects them differently. Like, oh, well, I don't want to lose that. Instead of starting at the bottom and saying, well, by going up, you gain an extra 10 years, or you'll gain synthetic felt or whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever you're talking about stuff, you're not going to get that anymore, but you'll save a little bit of money. And if you want to save a little bit more money, we're not going to do this either. But we'll save some money. So I've found that. And I used to have a problem doing it that way because I don't know why.
You're a people pleaser. You don't want to take stuff away.
Yeah, exactly. And after doing it enough times, I realized that whenever you start high and start going down, your average ticket's going to be that much higher. Usually they end up going for one of the better systems when you start higher instead of starting at the bottom.
Okay. All right, so you go from high to low, but I'm very much intrigued what makes a Bentley versus a Kia. So what are some of the things as you go down, model by model, system by system? What are some of the core differentiators outside of we talked about warranties? You said synthetic. Like what if you get just for someone if I'm a roofing contractor in RSI, I'm trying to learn how to present better. How I can differentiate from the best to the worst option.
Yeah, so if we're starting with, we call it our Supreme package, and that's going to be, a class 4 impact rated shingle first off. I'll let them know it's rated to withstand up to 2-inch diameter hail. And they're also going to get, thicker synthetic underlayment. They're going to get ice and water barrier around all their penetrations in the valleys. But they're going to have a 50-year top to bottom warranty, meaning they have a 50-year craftsmanship warranty. They have a non-depreciated 50-year material defect warranty.
Wow.
It's going to include upgrading their ventilation to whatever proper ventilation they need so they can get that warranty.
Sure.
And then, when we go down to Premier, that's our third, or I guess our second best roofing system. We're dropping down to a class 3 shingle, which is still an impact rated shingle. You are still maybe able to get some discounts on your insurance premiums, but you drop to 1 3/4 diameter hail versus 2-inch hail.
Okay.
The other thing is, we're not going to do the thicker synthetic. You're going to get the standard synthetic felt on the entire surface area. But then you're also dropping to a 25-year craftsmanship warranty and 25 years non-depreciated on your material defects, which
Right.
isn't the worst thing ever, but it is something that you'd be losing by going down to that system. And then if we go to the next one, our basic package or whatever, you're going to get a standard architectural shingle. There's not going to be any impact rating, so you more than likely aren't going to be eligible for any discounts for your homeowner's insurance. And we're going to go down to a 5-year workmanship warranty. So just without devaluing the packages below the best, try to make it point out some things that they're going to be losing, but still let them know that regardless of the system they choose, they're still going to be getting a quality roof from one of the best contractors in the area.
Yeah, for sure. How do you explain impact rating to a ding dong like myself that doesn't have a technical background? Most of your homeowners don't have that background. So
Yeah.
how do you explain that? And
Well, I'll let them know that in order for a shingle to carry an impact rating and to say that they're impact rated, they have to go through extensive testing to see at what diameter hail does this shingle start to show damage. And so a class 4 is rated for up to 2-inch diameter hail. So it's gone through extensive testing with, and what they do instead of, they will shoot ice balls at it, but for their, in their laboratory testing purposes, they'll drop steel balls on them. And so they'll have, an 1.5-inch diameter steel ball and so on and so forth, and continuously drop these balls on these shingles to see at what point does it start showing damage. So if they have a class 4 impact rated shingle, that means that shingle has gone through significant testing to show that anything under a 2-inch diameter hailstone will not cause damage on it.
Okay.
Which in Central Texas, where we are, that's a big thing to a lot of people.
Sure.
Lots of my clients have had to have their roof replaced 3 times in the past 10 years. And so, and all because of hail. And insurance is picking up most of it, but they still have to pay a deductible 3 times.
Yeah.
And so for those are the easiest ones to get them to upgrade to an impact rated shingle, because they are just sick of having to replace their roof every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you relay that story. I've had homeowners where I've had to do the roof 3 times and they finally said enough is enough.
Yep. And so they'll want to go to an impact rated shingle. There are other options as well, like F-Wave. There's certain brands of rubber shingles. There's stone-coated steel options.
Yeah.
It opens up, whenever they've had to replace their roof 3 times in the past 10 years, it opens up a lot of options for a better system that, it's going to cost more money up front, but it's going to save you the headache from having to do this 3 more times over the next 10 years.
100%. How much do you end up talking ventilation with customers? I always read a long time ago the stat of how many homes are not properly ventilated and how that bakes shingles and shortens lives. Is that a conversation you have much in terms of repair and replacement calls and how that differentiates you guys from other contractors, that you pay attention to that, or is that typically not come up much?
I'll bring it up. I won't go too hard on it. I will let them know if they're having excessive granule loss and their roof is only 10 years old, and the cause of that is because they have inadequate attic ventilation. I'll explain it a little bit and let them know how it's supposed to work and how theirs is working or not working, and that's why they have the issue. When talking replacements, I'll always let them know that we're a Master Elite certified contractor with GAF. And so in order to carry that certification, we have to be installing their systems per their recommendations, per their specifications. And so having adequate attic ventilation is a huge part on that, because if they have a warranty issue and they file a claim through GAF, the first thing GAF is going to do when they come out is check the ventilation. And if the ventilation isn't adequate, then the claim is void and the warranty is void.
To get back, I was asking about in terms of gutters. Do you guys sell gutters as part of the package? Any of the packages? Do you not mess with gutters at all? What do you?
So we do sell gutters.
Yeah.
They're not included in our roofing packages just
Okay.
because every roof has a different perimeter.
Mhm.
Not every house needs gutters. Some houses don't. Some houses have gutters already that don't need to be replaced. But we do sell gutters. We just do it as a separate estimate.
A
So if they're
separate
wanting
estimate.
gutters on half the house, then I'll write it up separately from the roof.
Okay. But you will write that up. Yeah, that you
Yeah,
handle that sales process
yeah.
for us. Okay.
Same thing with it's pretty straightforward pricing. We just do it by the linear foot. And
Okay.
I'll always explain to people too how I'm getting to the numbers that are on their estimate. I'll let them
Okay.
know I'll do 1217 a foot or however much. That's for 5-inch seamless aluminum, any color you want. And I need to have one downspout for every 30 feet of gutters, and I do
Okay.
13 feet of downspout. So that's
Okay.
how you know where I'm getting my numbers. You can add up the linear footage and divide it and check, make sure that my numbers are on.
Yeah.
But and I'll draw out a diagram and let them know where we plan on putting them, where we plan on putting the downspouts, make sure it works for them.
Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. So you walked me through, you walked the customer through your 7 options to back to the re-roof. Then I'm sure, you're quiet. You try and see what they say next. Hopefully, 60% of the time, like you said, they're saying yes and it's great. But of course, there's that 40% that have objections or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
probably more than that, right? Even the people that say yes have objections.
Yeah.
When someone has say a bid in hand, they go, I had ABC Roofing come out, and like you said, I think you walked me through a little bit, right? How long have they been there? What are some other things you say to address bids in hands to differentiate yourself?
I'll ask them if they're comfortable with sharing that bid with me,
Okay.
just so I can make sure that whether the company is as tenured or as certified as we are or not, just to make sure that it's kind of apples to apples, that their bid that's $3,000 less, to make sure that it includes the same components that I'm
Okay.
including on there,
Yeah.
to make sure that they've addressed ventilation, to make sure that they are a qualified contractor that can provide extended warranties through their
Yeah.
manufacturer.
Yeah.
And so, most of the time they're okay with showing me that, whether
Yeah.
they reject the price or not. And I'll have people tell me, oh, I got a bid and it was, thousands cheaper or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've found that a lot of times they don't. They're
Right.
just trying to get a better price.
Sure.
And sometimes that'll reveal itself when I ask if we can look over the other bid. But at the end of the day, if somebody is, just trying to nickel and dime you,
Yeah.
we're not, and we kind of pride ourselves on not being the cheapest guys around.
Sure.
We can't afford to be the cheapest guys around because of the quality systems that we install.
Right.
I don't. I would much rather walk away from a job than sell it for a cheap price, put on a cheap system
Yeah.
that looks terrible, doesn't perform how it should,
Yeah.
because people driving down the road, they see us putting on a crappy roof. They don't know that this is what the customer chose. They don't know that
Yeah.
the customer is just trying to save as much money as they could. All they
Right.
see is our trucks parked out front and our crews up there putting on a crappy roof.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if it comes down to somebody, an investor who just wants the absolute cheapest garbage roof possible, there's plenty of times where I've let people know, I totally get where you're coming from, and I
Yeah.
respect your decision.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be the company for you in this instance,
Yeah.
just because we're more concerned with quality than we are with pricing.
Sure.
That being said, we still want to be competitive, but I'm definitely not the cheapest guy you're going to find around because that's just not how we do business. So.
Right. Right. How do you handle, the person who's super price conscious and you're the first one in the door and they go, I got it, $25,000. Holy cow. I got to get more bids. I got to get more bids. They train. That's how they were raised. You got to get more bids. So maybe they're
Mm.
old school. How do you approach those people? What do you say to them?
I will try to figure out the main reason why they're wanting to get more bids, just to make sure that it's just price and that it's not because they're concerned with the quality of our workmanship or the
Yeah.
company or anything like that. And if it is just coming down to price, I'll encourage them. I will say, you know what, go right ahead. I
Yeah.
encourage you to get a couple other bids because I genuinely feel that after you look at those, even if their price is a little bit lower than ours, you're gonna want you're going to feel more comfortable spending a little bit more for a better quality system from a
Right.
better company than somebody who's a couple $1,000s less, but you also have some questions about their ethics and their
Sure.
workmanship and,
Yeah.
things like that.
Sure.
Um, Whenever they do go get other bids, sometimes it does just come down to price.
Yeah.
And, they're getting a system that's not as good, but it's not a terrible system, but it's
Yeah.
$2,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
And so you lose some of those. And that's just the
Sure.
nature of the beast.
Hmm.
Um, However, I couldn't even put a percentage on it, but a good amount of the time, whenever I'm the first one there, they want to get some more bids. Typically, I'll follow up with them about a week or two later. I'll give them enough time to get someone else out there and get them some numbers. Um, Usually, when I follow up 2 weeks from then, they will have had a contractor out the day after I was there, and they still don't have an estimate from them.
Uh,
And
yeah.
that right there sometimes is enough for me to close the deal right then.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
so
Sure.
I'm not afraid of somebody having other bids.
Yeah.
That's not gonna deter me.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel that the quality and the value that we're offering for our price is well worth it.
I like it. Very good. I got to ask about financing. You mentioned it earlier, right? You always show a finance price for your roofs. What kind of products are you using? What ones do customers seem to bite on the most, that they like the most in terms of a financing product?
Yeah, so there's three different options that we offer for financing, two of which are going to be a same as cash option. So it's a
Okay.
6 or a 12 months, same as cash. And those are interest free. There's no required monthly payments, no penalty for paying off early, so on and
Yeah.
so forth. It's more so you just pay off the total amount within the time frame that you select. And
Yeah.
then the other option is a 96-month traditional installment loan at a
Okay.
9.9 interest rate.
Okay.
I've found that when somebody is financing their entire roof replacement and it's a $15,000 to $25,000 job, they're going
Yeah.
to go for 96 month because it usually equates to maybe $300 a month or something like that.
Okay.
Usually when it's their deductible on an insurance job or some upgrades that they want to do that aren't covered by insurance or stuff like that. Pretty much if it's under I'd say $6,000 or $7,000, they'll usually do the interest free same as cash option.
Mm.
Whereas when you go north of that, it usually turns into the 96 month. But whenever it turns into the 96 month, then it's really easy to sell them a better system
Yeah.
because it's not a $4,000 difference.
Right.
It's $14 a month difference,
Right. Right.
And
So
so
you'll go
that
back. You'll circle back around and go, hey, if we're going to go to that, you can get a better roof.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. For $14 a month more,
Yeah.
which, 3 cups of coffee, whatever.
Coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But for that much more, for $14 a month extra, you get all this other stuff with it.
Yeah.
And I always put it in terms of if this was my home, if this was my project, this
Right.
is the route that I would go. You're welcome to do whatever you want. I'm just letting after through my experience, this is what I've seen is kind of going to be the best option.
I love it. I love it. Is there any point you're allowed to discount at all to knock off $1,000 or, at the same time create urgency? If you sign today, we can knock off $500 or so. Do you guys do anything like that? Or this is the price, this is what we believe in?
No, no.
Okay.
Which I'm sure I've probably lost projects in the past from it
Yeah.
because I have no negotiation room.
Yeah.
However, it also lets people know that, I don't know, if somebody was to tell me, hey, if you sign today, I'll knock off 2 grand, I would think, oh, so you're automatically charging me 2 grand more than you need to?
Mm.
Like, that doesn't, you're a dick. Like, yeah, I don't know. Uh, it doesn't sit right with me,
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
I'm fine with not offering any
Right.
sort of price break, anything like that.
Sure.
In the past, I have done, $400 or $500 off if they pay in full up front.
Hmm.
Um, but that's very, very rare that I don't, yeah, very rarely has that happened.
Sure.
And I have people ask all the time, hey, my buddy needs a roof. If I get you his roof, can you knock off $1,000? Can you pay my deductible? Whatever.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Yeah, 99% of the time when someone tells you I have more work for you, they don't.
Right.
So I'll thank them. I'll say that's great. If you send me them, if you send them my way, I'll absolutely get you a referral fee once we sign them
Okay.
up. But
Referral
as it
fee. Yeah.
sits right now, this is the price, and that's just where we're at.
Okay. Um, all right. So in those, you mentioned a little bit on those instances that they don't close that day. Your follow up process is to call what a couple. Do you say, hey, is it okay if I call you in 2 days, or how do you, if
I'll
they don't
usually
close
let
on the
them
day?
know. And the duration that I wait depends on what their main objection is. If they want to get more bids, or if they want to talk to their husband, or whatever. Um, say it's a guy who wants to talk to his wife before he makes any decisions.
Right.
And it's Monday. I'll say, all right, well, absolutely. I would definitely want you to talk to her before doing this
Yeah.
because I don't want you to get in a fight on account of me.
Sure.
Tell you what, I will call you back on Wednesday. I'll call
Okay.
you back Wednesday afternoon, give you guys some time to talk, and I'll call you back on Wednesday afternoon. If you guys have any other questions, I can answer them at that point. And we can go from there. If everything
Yeah.
looks good, I can send over the paperwork. If you guys have more questions, we can talk more. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, and that's totally
Sure.
fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I want
Yeah.
you guys to make the decision that works best for you.
I like it. No, no pressure, no high pressure. I like that.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
and like I said, I sell how I want to be sold to. When
Right.
I get a high pressure salesman, it irritates me and makes me. The only thing it makes me want to do is not buy from them and get them out of
Okay.
my house.
Sure.
So that's not what I want to be at all. You know.
Sure. For sure. Is there a point how many times will you call someone? So you call them back on Wednesday or whatever day you said, and they don't answer. Or, maybe they have a work call or whatever. I mean, how many times will you follow up before you're like, okay, that one's just dead. It's done. I got to move on.
Because I'll usually call and leave a voicemail. I'll
Yeah.
usually follow that up with a text, maybe an email, depending on the person.
Okay.
But usually after 3 or 4 attempted
Yeah.
follow-ups, and I don't get any sort of response, and I'm just getting ghosted, I can
Okay.
usually take the hint.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. No more sad stuff. Let's say you closed them right away. You closed them. They're happy. What is your process? What's the post close process for you guys? Is it just signing some paperwork? Do you say anything to try and keep them happy and smiling as you walk out the door? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. And I usually will, if I'm closing on the spot, I'll write up the contract right there in front of them.
Yep.
Still talking to them, typically about stuff other than the contract, asking
Right.
them about what their summer plans are or whatever.
Yeah.
Once we get to actually signing the contract, I try to be as informative as I can, but
Okay.
without making it sound like we're signing a serious legal contract.
Sure.
Try to keep it lighthearted, and just kind of have fun with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, Once I do that, typically when I sign the contract, I pick up a deposit as well.
Okay.
Usually, more often than not, it's 50% of the project. And
Okay.
so I'll pick up the deposit. And then once I've finished everything and got all the documents emailed over to them, I'll do it right in front of them just to make sure that they get their copy of it too.
Sure.
Um, I'll let them know, hey, this is my personal phone number. If you have any questions, any concerns, anything that, I might not have gone over, you didn't get a copy of the agreement in the email, whatever it may be, call me directly.
Yeah.
You can call the office and that's fine. But, more often than not, it's going to turn into a note on your file for me to call you.
Right.
And basically, we can just skip the middleman and just call me directly. I always have
Yeah.
my phone glued to me, so
Sure.
if I ever miss your call, you'll get a call back within an hour.
Yeah.
And I'll always be here to help you out with whatever you need.
Okay.
And so that's usually my parting comments. Um, and then, usually a day or two before their job starts or on the day of their job, I'll try to give them a call and just touch base with them, see
Okay.
how everything's been so far. Because honestly, once I leave the house with a contract and their deposit, I'm kind of out of the picture. I've
Right.
done my job on it.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to, at the end of the day, it's me who's selling them the
Sure.
company, and I don't want them to forget about me, I guess. So
For sure. No, I totally get that. I'm assuming it doesn't happen often, but should someone call to cancel, I mean, how do you handle that situation? Do you have to close them again over the phone, or you just never deal with that?
it's, to be honest, it's very, very rare
Okay.
that we get that call.
Yeah.
Um, it during last summer was
Oh,
the last summer was the last one I got.
materials. Yeah.
Well, it was, I don't even remember the exact issue, but it doesn't happen very frequently.
Okay.
When it did happen, I just kind of, and this dude, I mean, I kind of didn't want to work with him anyway, so it was kind of like, thank God you're canceling. But he was just screaming at me on the phone the entire
Oh,
time,
geez.
and I'm just sitting there trying to, I want to know what the problem is, the
Yeah.
reason for their wanting to cancel, and go from there and try to address it. Whether it be, oh, my neighbor is getting theirs done for $5,000 cheaper, or it's been 4 weeks and I don't have my roof yet, and you told me it was going to be 8, but I want it in 4, and
Yeah.
whatever the reason may be. And I'll always try to save it. And if for some reason I can't, then I'll escalate it. Send it to my
Sure.
sales manager, see if he can help out with it, maybe
Sure.
do something that I wasn't able to. And who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe it's just me. Maybe they just don't like the cut of my jib, and thought of me. And I don't want the company to lose out on
Right.
business because of something I did, whether
Sure.
indirectly or directly. And
Yeah.
so if that's the reason, then I'm more than happy to have it go to another one of the sales guys and have them
Yeah.
close it out.
Yeah.
Um, I
Well,
mean,
that's
that's
good.
never happened because I'm a sweetheart, but
I was gonna say, sounds like a lot of people like your jib just fine.
yeah,
So
it never. I haven't had someone tell me that's the reason. So we'll
that's really
see.
funny. All right, I just got a couple more questions for you, just kind of in
Sure.
wrapping up. Just in general, Peter, what's your why? Like, what drives you to succeed every day, to take care of people, and sell in an ethical manner versus trying to slam on as many roofs as possible? Like what drives you? What would you say to that?
Definitely the wife and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I married my high school sweetheart,
Oh
and
wow.
we have 2 kids right now, and our third is due at the end of May. And so
Congratulations.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, my wife's a stay-at-home mom, and we just last month actually moved into a much bigger house,
Yeah.
and
Good for you.
unfortunately it has a much bigger mortgage on it. So
Yeah, that's how that works. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, at the end of the day, I want to do everything I can to make sure that they have the best life possible,
Yeah.
and that's going to be the main thing. However, I don't want to do it in an unethical way. I don't want to have any guilt or bad feelings about how I make my money.
Right.
And if I'm selling somebody an overpriced, crappy roof that is going to leak on them in a couple of years, and I know that, and I'm
Yeah.
taking advantage of people, I won't be able to sleep at night.
Right.
So that's really important to me as well, to
Yeah.
make as much money as I can for my family, but do it the right way and
Right.
by treating people right, basically.
I love that. I love that. You talked about it a little earlier, but what's it like really working at KangaRoof? And I know you've got a bunch of really good salespeople on your team as well. What's it like having people like that as sounding boards and resources, and then you've got the fellers and just the management team? What's it like having that kind of infrastructure and support system?
Yeah, well, Scott and Stacy are some of the, I mean, aside from being my bosses and the owners of the business, they're some of the nicest people I've met.
They are. Yeah.
I believe that they're genuinely good people, and that means a lot to me to work for someone like that.
Yeah.
But also, at Kanga, they expect a very high caliber of sales guy working there.
Sure.
And I mean, they have high expectations for all of their employees in every department.
Sure.
But for the sales guys, I mean, basically, if you don't know that you can at least hit like 1.5 million, 2 million a year, then you probably should work somewhere else.
Right.
And granted, they've set it up for us to succeed. I mean,
Exactly.
a lot of these calls are slam dunks
Yeah.
because they have such a great reputation, put on good roofs, do good work, do the right thing, all that stuff. And it really, I mean, that's how that word of mouth travels, is by
Yeah.
people saying these guys did a great job and they did it the right way.
Yeah.
And they treated me well during the process. And I think that speaks volumes to other clients. However, yeah, like I said, a lot of the other sales guys are complete badasses, and it's really it's good to be on a team where we all kind of drive each other to,
Sure.
you know, and it's friendly competition. You know,
Right.
I don't hate it when somebody beats me by a couple thousand in a month. I'm
Yeah.
happy for them, you know, because
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm able to provide for my family, and that's all I really
Exactly.
care about. And
I
if I
like
can
it.
do that by being number 3 on the sales board, then so be it. If
Yeah.
I'm number 1, then, you know, everyone else sucked that month, and I was a little extra good that month, but, you know.
Yeah. No.
But
Well,
yeah, I
ultimately,
mean,
yeah.
we
I was
we
gonna say
all we all drive each other to do better, so
that's great.
it's definitely a good team to be on.
I said ultimately, I was going to say ultimately you remember your why, right? You want to win because you're competitive, but you know that if you're still having a good month, that means that the family's being taken care of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All
So
right.
that being
Very last.
said, it's been like 3 months in a row where I'm like 1,000 off from being number 1. I'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, sure, sure. Well, that's all right. It keeps you sharp, right? It keeps you
exactly.
on the
Exactly.
ball. All right. Very last question. What advice would you have? I mean, you've got a lot of roofing contractors, a lot of salespeople that'll watch or listen to this. What advice would you have for those salespeople on how to get better? What would you say to them?
Um, I mean, my biggest thing that I've always said whenever people ask is, you know, there's no one size fits all for sales. And
Yeah.
so the one thing that I can say that I've seen work for me and work for a lot of other people is to sell how you want to be sold to.
Hmm.
If you like a high pressure sales experience, then that's probably what's going to come most natural to you. And that's
Sure.
probably what you'll be most successful at.
Yeah.
If you hate that kind of experience and a more laid back, personable approach is how you prefer it, then you'll probably have more success with that.
Yeah.
Um, but I would also say, you know, to never get uh, complacent. You know, always be trying to better yourself. Always be trying to figure out ways you can improve. Nobody's perfect, and nobody ever will be perfect. So there's always
Yeah.
room to improve on one thing or the other. Um, you know, for me, I was number 2 in sales last year. There was
Hmm.
one fellow that beat me, and I hate
Yep.
him. And not really, he's a great guy,
I
but
know.
no, yeah, but it's that kind of thing that, you know, maybe I could have been number 1 if there were other things that I had done differently. And so I'm always trying to, um, you know, think of ways that I can, you know, kind of fine tune my stuff. Obviously, what I'm doing is working,
Yeah.
but there's tweaks here and there that I can do, and different stuff that I can learn that can probably make it even better.
Sure. Sure. Good stuff, Peter. Man, this was a lot of fun. I hope you didn't mind it too much. I learned a lot. This is
Mm.
highly informative. So thank you so very, very much for all your time today. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in Orlando at Expo in a few weeks.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, sounds good, man. Sounds good.
so safe travels. And really, again, thank you again for all your time, and have a great rest of your day today.
Yeah, you too, Bob. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Take care. That's Peter Trierweiler of Feller KangaRoof in Round Rock, Texas. Thanks for joining us. If you feel like you have a great story worth sharing that would also help other contractors, email me at bhouchin@yoursgi.com. Also, if you enjoyed today's show, if you're on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. If you're on your favorite podcast player, please leave us a 5-star review. And please join us for future episodes. It's my promise to you that we will continue to interview successful contractors and other influential individuals in the residential contracting world. This has been The Successful Contractor, powered by Success Group International.
Support for this podcast comes from Minuteman Press to Pair. Minuteman Press to Pair is your preferred print and marketing service provider, helping SGI members grow their businesses since 2001. Through their knowledge and experience with SGI programs, you'll receive a fast turnaround and satisfaction guaranteed on price guides, inspection forms, club materials, and much more. In addition to specializing in SGI proprietary tools, Minuteman Press to Pair also provides custom design services, as well as templates to help market your residential business. Like you, they are committed to your success. Minuteman Prest-A-Pair is the only Minuteman location affiliated with the SGI Partner Network, providing member rebates and discounts. Contact Denise today for more information at 877-203-4769. The Successful Contractor Podcast is part of the Success Group International family. SGI is the largest member-owned best practices organization for independent residential services contractors. SGI provides its members a competitive edge through proven proprietary management tools and expertise, marketing programs, training, and group buying power, along with a highly active and eager to help membership. For more information about Success Group International, visit www.yoursgi.com.